Yes, it's all set now. Good morning again. So, the topic for today is writing of news reports. You can see on the slide here that I have given you a picture on the right hand side. What is a headline, then place and date, then introduction, then body part, and then conclusion. So, in broader terms, we can divide the news report in these parts: headline, introduction, body and conclusion. But before that, it is very important to write the date so that everybody knows this is the news of which date. Okay, now it is a very important part of mass media, and most of you may be interested in going to the writing, newspaper writing, also news report writing. So you should learn this very there, and there are many ways of doing it. Okay, let me show you. Like, for example, the headline should be able to grab the attention of the people. If it is not able to do that, that means there is something wrong. That is why they are given the maximum space in a news report. The whole headline, they may be only 2 or 3 words, or maybe 5 to 6 words. Sometimes they could be more than that, but then they occupy the maximum space for a news. Okay, and these introduction, these things could be divided into columns also. And this place and date is very important, as I mentioned. And there are different formats. Some newspaper, they follow the format of writing 6th February and comma 22, like this. Okay, so there are different formats of writing the newspaper date. Okay, now introduction, it should be short. First, introduction is given where small gist of the story is given, and then later in the body part you will explain it why and how, and more details about the same incident, extra details. If the person reads the introduction and he wants to know more further, he's more interested, so he may go to the body part of the news and then read it, and then the conclusion. Okay, now moving ahead, writing the news report basically. So what is it we should know? Headline, as I mentioned just now, it is, you should be good with your headlines. Okay, your introduction, okay, middle and conclusion. Intro, and then body part, and then conclusion. The same thing that I have just said, I'm repeating it here. But now, an introduction is also known as the lead paragraph. It is also known as lead paragraph, which is actually shortened. Okay, the main story of the page is also known as the lead. All right, being it is the most actually important part of the news story, as a reader decide after going through this whether whether he's or she's more interested in reading it further. Okay, whether he has the time to read it more, or whether the curiosity is there to get more knowledge on the same topic. Okay, sometimes just introduction is important, and if you are already aware of the news and all, so and you want to read lot of things, so just read the intro part of all the newspapers, and sometimes the headlines are sufficient. You don't have to really read the news in detail, but some people, they read each and every word of the newspaper, so it's actually good. But if you have got time, if you can devote time to reading the rest of the story, it will be like adding more substance to the story, right? Now the introduction basically will composed of the 5 wives and the husband. जिसमें हमेशा बोलती हूँ 5 wives and a husband. Husband is how. 5 wives means when, where, who, and what, and there is one more left, why. Okay, these are the 5 W's that you will be adding in the intro. Okay, and also how. So there are different types of intro. When we talk about the intro part, there are different types of intro. One is summary intro. So summary intro basically tells you, it gives you the full summary of the whole news. So by reading the summary introduction, you may not be interested in going further if you understood the whole piece. So it gives you the gist of the entire item to catch up your attention. And basically nowadays people, they are in a hurry, so they just read the summary intro and they just move ahead to the next story. So this basically, the writer arouses the curiosity. If you feel that you really want to go ahead with the news details, then you can go to the next body of that news. And sometime if your intro is very strong, people may not like the story, but still they would like to read the next part of the news report, that is the body, and then the conclusion also, because you have put it in such a way that they cannot escape. Okay, so the first paragraph of the report gives us the gist of the entire item full. And okay, next point, next type of intro is the figurative or color intro. Now sometime some news reporters, they use figurative language, figure of speech, so that there is more masala added to the intro to make it look more attractive. Some news reporter, they use metaphors, some use onomatopoeia, some use hyperbole, or some of them they use similes. So that depends on you. If it's something clicks and it is relevant to the news, then you can use it. Otherwise there is no force on anybody that they should always have a figurative or a color introduction to their news piece, because if it is not relevant, then it is like of no value, zero value. Okay, for example, इसका मैं दिखा देती हूँ. धोनी takes the highway, Mahi way. So it's like something is put in a very nice way. Takes the highway, and Mahi is his wife. So when he was getting married, it is that newspaper cutting of that time. All right. Now on this side only, you can see CBI court drops Sohrabuddin case against Amit Shah. Okay, so this headline itself gives you the full information that the case has been dropped. If you are interested and you're following up the news, then this is called the subheading. This is the heading, this is called the subheading, and then you will see the date here. This is the date. I should have made it I should have zoomed it out, but it's okay. You are in a habit of reading the newspaper, so this is not a thing that you will not understand. Okay, let's go to the next point, and that is descriptive intro. So the descriptive intro, basically, figurative intro mein there is this is more important, because if your figure of speech is not matching with the news, please don't use it. That's one important point. I mentioned it earlier also, because sometime you are so much inclined to use a figurative headline so that everybody looks at it, and if it does not matches with the news piece, then it it may backfire. You may have to pay the price for that. Newspaper, they will not take your headline so seriously. Then they will say it's better that you give a simple descriptive headline rather than going for any figurative is to be chosen very carefully. Okay, descriptive mein, as I said, it usually given to the story which require making the reader familiar with the setting of the place of action. कहाँ पे हुआ है, full description is given. For example, there is a meeting in the chief minister's house. Shiv Sena leader Manohar Lal Joshi has a swanky sea-facing apartment on the top floor. So this describes the thing, further leading to the main story. that where is his apartment, how is his apartment, and who are the people present there. So total description in that intro. Okay, now once you read this type of intro, what happens, you understood that they are going to give you the piece of news after describing the whole scene, what is happening. For example, this is like some meeting that is going to happen in the chief minister's house, so definitely they would like to tell you who all are there, what is the scene. So this is important. Before the program starts, they always describe the scene. These were the guests who were present over there, right? So next type of intro is, so the introduction of report actually describes the place of the chief minister. I'm just giving you an example of chief minister. So that reporter is giving us the exact picture of his place, or if it is a parliament house, then or maybe when the reporter is giving the description of the entire house, so in that indirectly he may be giving that he is having so much of luxury. So if you are very inquisitive, you may say he is a chief minister, how come he has got so much of such a luxurious house. So this is a intro where description sometimes tells you the inside story also. If you can question that, because chief ministers, they have their own bungalows given by the government, and they are not very luxurious. But if they, on the contrary, they are luxurious, the journalist will deliberately give you the details of all the things. Then he may tell you how many cars he are standing outside. Okay, these are the different ways of giving extra news to the reader so that they can draw their own conclusion. Next is the quotation. Sometimes news is given in the quotation marks. That is, what is quotation in this, or sometimes the single quotation. Okay, so these quotations are given in the newspaper, in the news headline, either this or this. So it's basically tells you what is been exactly direct speech, it's what has been exactly highlighted. Okay, so it begins with quotation. Iska example I have taken up here, I think so. Yeah, you see, this is the quotation ka example. So you see here they have used these types of quotations, this, so many, apostrophe bhi isme use hua hai. See, so whenever the news headline has got quotation marks in it, that intro is called a quotation intro. Okay, let's go ahead. Question intro. Sometime in the news headline, a question is asked: homeless survive winter, now what? So this is a question mark that raises a curiosity in the minds of the reader. The reporter has chosen to open his report with a question, which lends an element of curiosity. As the question leaves the issue open, it stimulates your mind. It stimulates the mind of the reader to read further, to find answer to that question, right? After giving the intro comes the job of writing the body of the news story. These are the different intros. Now what we'll do, we'll write the body of the news story. So in the middle part of the main point is elaborated in a very logical manner, logical order, so that the continuous thread runs. ऐसा नहीं है टुकड़ों में नहीं होना चाहिए. There should be continuity. So the continuous thread that holds the story together through the various paragraphs of the report. So connectives are, that is why, very important. That is why we teach you language. Connectives भी आना चाहिए, so that you can connect from the first paragraph to the third paragraph. So you should be able to use those connective, must be used to enable various paragraphs so that they slide into one another effortlessly. आपको पता भी नहीं चले कि one means there is a breakup. It should go so smoothly, effortlessly, so it gives a natural flow to your news report. And these things are very important, and these things will only come with practice. Don't take it easy, because newspaper reporters, they have really kiss out themselves a lot when they write. Because when you will go for internship or do other things na, abhi to you are having really gala time here, online education and everything. But otherwise, if it had been a internship में आप जब जाओगे न्यूज, so they will throw the news report on your face also. So don't mind that, because that is the learning stage. Each and every journalist has gone through that. Don't have to think very कि oh my god, that person has insulted me. No, you are going to learn from that only. So you will make it better. Go again, he will throw again, make it even better. So आप इसमें फ़ायदा किसका हो रहा है? दोनों का. Newspaper will get a better report, and you will also polish your skills. You will also know how to give and what to give, and how to scratch the unnecessary part, how to make it look more attractive, how to make it more appealing, right? So for that, start reading the newspaper from now onward, because when you know what type of news is expected out of you, so then you will be able to deliver that. अगर आप न्यूज़पेपर ही नहीं पढ़ रहे हो, so how will you get it? At least 3 or 4 newspaper you should be reading. उसको अच्छे से देखो, what type of headings कैसे कैसे बनाते हैं, कितने मसाले डालते हैं. Sometimes they make the heading so interesting. Sometimes intro is so nice that you, even if you don't like the heading, but you read the introduction, you want to know more about it. Go ahead, read it further, right? Some editorial, अच्छा वो editorial का we'll talk about later. Now basically when उसके बाद सबसे end में conclusion is there. Conclusion is the ending of the report. It briefly sums up the whole idea, okay, the whole write-up. Don't underestimate the conclusion, because some people, they only read conclusion because it sums up everything, right? Now a news report is actually always is a factual reporting. It's, you are reporting the fact, so they are always factual in nature. On the right hand side, you must be seeing there is a full format of the news report. So headline, then date, and this is actually wrong. प्राइस नहीं होता है यहाँ पे, so just यहाँ पे ही डेट हो जाता है, यहाँ पे डेट होता है. नो यहाँ पे डेट होता है, यहाँ साथ के साथ डेट के ऑन द कॉलन एंड देन स्टार्ट. ओके, दिस इज एक्चुअली, सो दिस इज द टोटल न्यूज़पेपर फॉर फ्रंट पेपर का है, इन्होंने फॉर्मेट दिया हुआ है. So we have to talk about only one piece of news report. Okay, so headline, subheading, detail, author, and then date and colon डाल के then start with the introduction. Okay, so you always have to use a very simple language when you are giving a report. It should not be very very flowery that the common person is not able to understand, and it should not be very so common कि you don't get any benefit out of reading the newspaper. Every day when you read a newspaper, you should be able to come across few words which you can add to your vocabulary. That should be the way. Newspaper should give you something to enhance your language skill also. Not only the factual information that is always there, but it should also cater to that demand of language also. So an abstract language does not suit every kind of writer, and being objective in nature, this is also not very, all the time you cannot be very objective when you are handling the news reporting. Okay, so an ideal report will be easy to read and follow, for which a writer must use short sentences, okay, crisp language, okay, and he should not use jargons or because because it actually, not understood by one and all. Everybody cannot understand the jargons in the news reporting, so it's better to avoid that. All right. And it is preferable to use active voice in a report than a passive, where it can be done wherever. If you can do use the active voice, it's advisable to go for the active voice. And that is why in effective one communication we did some exercises on active and passive voice, so that you know what is an active voice, what is a passive voice. Okay. Now news report should be as brief as possible. Okay. Now we'll come to the headlines. What is a headline? It should be, as I said, it should be very catchy, because it is something that will make your reader go for reading your news further. Okay. It should make the person curious to know what is there in the report. Okay. And sometimes the headline serves as a brief intro of the whole news. So a reporter is not required to give the headline to his report. Basically, he may give a headline to it, but it will not be printed. The headline department is basically, it is the news editor who decides how the story will be placed on the page and what headline will be given. So you can give your headline, but sometime your headline may not be so catchy, may not go well. So those people who are very much experienced, they are given that job, because headline is something that is very crucial to the news reporting. Okay. So but if you are very creative right from the beginning, so you can you give your headline. Maybe the person who has to see your news, proofread your news, may take your headline only, and then he knows that you have the capacity of giving a better headline, or a, very catchy headline. So now your headline can be placed in many ways. It can be placed in single column, it can be placed in double column, it can be placed in 7 columns. So depends like what type of news you are giving. Sometimes it is a very big main news. For example, Lata Mangeshkar passing away. So it was a big news. So it had taken 3 or 4, 5, 6 columns of the main headline, lead story, you can say that way. Okay. Now it is the sub editor who is trained basically to fit the headline. Fitting of the headline is done by the sub editor. Okay, within the space earmarked for the news story that he has edited. Already, if the news is there, Lata Mangeshkar's passing away, so they know how many columns will be used for this news. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. Then you have the headline. Now it is the sub editor who will do the justice to that, whether he wants to make it centrally aligned, left aligned, or make it a pyramid or whatever. So we'll talk about that types of format of news headline also. Now what type of font will be used, and point size, what is the point size. So these are all decided as per the space available also in the newspaper. So they wait till morning time, when the newspaper is published. Before, till then they don't finalize it, because there may be some news adding to the total. So if there is something extra that is to be fitted in the front page, then they may change the style and point size, right? So so headlines must be, they have to be very crafted very carefully, because they are meant to make people read and go for your stories. And sometimes headlines may have grammatical mistake, and it has often, I have seen, so many people have seen that, but it should be correct. What is important is that headline should never have any mistake, because that is the thing that you are seeing. ठीक है, story में आपका एक आधा इधर उधर mistake is acceptable, but headline is something that is very obvious and it's visible, right? So we have to be very, very sure that they are correct factually and grammatically, and there should not be any room for wrong headline. Okay. Now there was a headline, I'll tell you, which had some grammatical mistake है इसमें. There is not much, so if you will be able to, grants for higher education too little for their growth. This is the headline, okay, and it is in says somebody जो भी है ऐसे करके. So here, why there is a grammatical mistake. Subject verb agreement के हिसाब से this should not be plural, it should be it, for its growth. Grant for higher education too little for it, because higher education is single, for its growth, right? That should be the correct way of, these are the real news I have taken from the books and also from the net.
Ma'am, it's
Yes.
without apostrophe or with apostrophe?
Apostrophe नहीं है बेटा. Apostrophe is something like, for example,
IT
ना,
is
हाँ,
only
अच्छा, it's में they, very good question. So it should be for it, because this means this is a contraction. This means a contraction, that means it is a contraction of it is, okay, and it means possessive, for its growth,
Okay, ma'am.
okay. So always remember, when IT में apostrophe आया है, it is a contraction of it is. हम लोग करते हैं ना, जैसे do not को हम लोग don't कर देते हैं, right? apostrophe डाल के ऐसे लिखते हैं ना, we put this apostrophe. So this is the contraction, but whereas we'll be using this its, okay, for its growth. Okay, let's move ahead. Sometime 8-column headline is placed at the top of the front page, and that type of headline, when it is a very big news, it's called a banner headline. Okay, for example, बहुत बड़ी न्यूज़ होती है, जैसे कि लता मंगेशकर passing away, or some like Osama bin Laden been killed by Pakistan, no, sorry, US. So these are the big major headline. Modi winning 2019 election. So these are called banner headlines. Okay, its position on the page tells the reader that the news story he is going to read is going to be very crucial. It's very important news, right? The headline of the main story on the front page is also called lead story, and it is in the biggest point size. वो जो सबसे बड़ा point size डालेंगे ना, that will be there, okay, and it is always made kept in bold letter so that it is eye catching, okay, to tell you that it is very important news. Don't skip it. You shouldn't be, if you want to be aware of the current affairs, you should not skip this news. It's basically trying to catch for attention. मुझे पढ़ो, I'm very big, okay, like that type of thing, okay. Next is subheadlines or a strap line. Sometimes small strap line is given in a different font and a reduced point size, so that it gives you extra detail of the headline, it gives you extra detail about the news, okay. Now there are different types of headline formats, so we'll be talking, okay, one second, let me first show you different headlines होता कैसा है. So you see here headline कितना बड़ा डाला है इन्होंने. If it is covering from left to right, that means it is a banner headline, ठीक है. Introducing paragraph, place and date, and this is, I said na, strap line. If it is needed, then छोटे font में, little bit smaller, not as small as the text that you will be seeing in the body and conclusion, but it will be definitely bigger than this and smaller than the headline. Okay, now this is the way it has to be if you want to really catch the attention that this is the headline, it is the lead story. Now giving you example, पोर्टलैंड ट्रिब्यून का न्यूज़पेपर है एंड यू सी समटाइम हेडलाइंस दे आर मर्ज्ड इनटू द पिक्चर्स ऑल्सो, समटाइम दे आर नॉट. अभी ये मैंने एग्जाम्पल इसीलिए आपको दिया बिकॉज देर आर सो मेनी टाइप्स ऑफ हेडलाइंस यू कैन सी इन दिस न्यूज़पेपर. ओके, नाउ हियर यू सी this headline, how it has been added to the picture, and this is the sub headline. Okay, sub strap line जिसको कहते हैं, strap line or sub headline. You see then who is the author here, then you will see the time and date, and this is something extra. That means if you read this and this, sometime if you are in a hurry, you just read these three and you get the idea of the whole story. This is an example, like one column headline, how it has been adjusted here. Then strap line is also in 3 or 4 line because they want to use only one column for this piece, and rest of the story will be adjusted in the coming pages. But why they wanted to give in the front? Because this is one of the main headline or main news of the day. ठीक है, this is very important to understand that most of the time what happens, half of the stories are given in the front page because they are important to catch your attention. But in case you are interested, you can go to the page number which is mentioned in the end, further story on this page. Okay, continued on this page. All right, now we also can see local news में कैसे help floods into deluged school. Okay, so इसमें कुछ खास नहीं है. They have basically given you the only one news on one paper. So this may be a tabloid or something local, because it is a local news. Most of probably it is going to be a tabloid paper. So this is how they had fitted the headline here. Okay, in this, let's go ahead and we'll see what are the different types of headline formats. Now national dailies usually have different types of format, and there are very important one which is justified. Justified means in this the headline has to start from the left margin only. You know what is a margin? For example, this is your story, these are called the margins. Now this is the headline, so the headline has to start from the left margin no matter what. It has to start from here. Okay, this is called justified headline. Okay, and then it touches the or nearly touches the right margin, and then यहाँ पे अगर खत्म हो जाता है तो then it's okay, then this much space is left blank. This format gives the headline a neat and attractive look. Excuse me, let me just have a sip of water. So this I did talk about justified headline. It starts from the left margin and it touches or nearly touches the right margins. Okay, now I don't know whether I have added some examples here or no, because I made this workbook, this PPT on the day when Monday you were supposed to have a lecture, but then that day was declared as a holiday. Okay, now I think I've not added any pictures here because I wanted to add passing of Lata Mangeshkar, but I forgot. Anyways, then second is the left flush. Left flush is also called left aligned headline. That means it starts from the left margin. On the contrary, justified का opposite ही हो जाएगा. यहाँ पे headline यहाँ से शुरू हो जाएगी. That means it is to align like this. It is to align towards the left margin. Oh, sorry. Opposite. I'm so sorry. That means no matter what, it is left aligned. Okay. headline. It starts from the left margin but stops a little before the right margin, leaving a blank space. अगर यहाँ पे आपका word पूरा fit नहीं आ रहा है, इतना आप space छोड़ोगे, ठीक है? That is called left flush. Okay. Now next is centered. Now centered headline, there is always equal space on the left as well as the राइट. सो सेंटर का कैसा हो जाएगा, ये आपका हेडलाइन का है पूरा फॉर्मेट. ओके, आपने हेडलाइन लिखा यहाँ से यहाँ तक के बीच में. सो दिस इज लाइक लीविंग बराबर का स्पेस हियर ऑल्सो एंड हियर ऑल्सो. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड सेंटर्ड. दैट मीन्स यू विल अलाइन इट सेंट्रली. ओके. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज inverted triangle or a pyramid. And sometime you know what happens, हम लोग ऐसा न्यूज़ का हेडिंग भी डालते हैं. दिस इज़ फॉर एग्जांपल आपका हेडर का कॉलम है. अच्छा, आपने हेडलाइन डाला उसको इन्वर्टेड पिरामिड. अभी पिरामिड क्या होता है, यू नो दैट दिस इज अ पिरामिड ना. आपका हेडलाइन आ गया ऐसे करके, ऐसे आपने एक डाला, दूसरा थोड़ा छोटा हो गया, तीसरा थोड़ा और छोटा हो गया और चौथा छोटा. दिस इज कॉल्ड अ इन्वर्टेड ट्राइंगल और अ पिरामिड टाइप ऑफ हेडलाइन. Okay, so the first line is the longest, the second is shorter than it, the third is shorter and the second also, and so on, जब तक आपका headline पूरा नहीं होता. So these fonts, these types of formats are available. They don't have to work. You just have to say right align, left align whenever you are, because you are into, you know, computers, you know, Word, you, all these things are done now very automatically. You just have to give the command inverted triangle, this much space needs to be fit, you know, occupied. So that command will also understand when this is the amount of space that needs to be occupied, what should be the point size. Okay, so that it looks neat and nice, right? So these are the different types of headlines ka format. Now let's go to another very important topic of the chapter, that is kinds of reporting. In a news report, we can, you know, we have different kinds of reporting. One is political. The most important is the political, because most of the newspaper is covered by political news, right? It covers news about you know, on state level, regional level, national level, world level, international level. So political news, they occupy the vast major space in the newspaper. And this makes it clear how important it is for you people, for the journalists, for the budding journalist, to understand current affair. Okay, so sometime, you know, you may not be inclined towards political news, but then you will be forced into that because there is so much of, you know, requirement here. You may feel ki, but then if you get already interested in this, so then sky is the limit, because political scenes means there's something or the other happening every day. You don't have to wait for your story to come up. Okay, because political scenario is changing each and every moment. Some meeting happening, some, you know, resolution being passed. So political reporting benefits both politician as well as reporter. How does it benefit politician? Because they are able to portray their work through you, and the news is going to the readers. They know what the politicians are doing. Okay, and journalists, because you are getting exposed to them. When you are publishing their news, you will be favored in some ways or the other, because if you're writing negative, then they may not like you. But if you write all the positive news about them, definitely some soft corner will develop in their mind, and you will be favored. Next interview ke liye they'll give you time. Favored in the sense ki yes, they will be available for you whenever, because you have given them one good news, or you know, reported their good news in the newspaper, and no negative publicity. So next time when you go and ask for interview timing and all, so they will favor you in that sense. Okay, and also when you are near the powerful politician, you gain otherwise also, which I don't want to say. Anyways, then another type this is called political reporting. Then the other type is called crime reporting. Crime, as the name suggests, इसमें क्या है, you know, हम हर घड़ी, every moment there is some crime or the other happening in the city, in every mohalla, gali, nukkad. So you have to just see whether it is you have to report it or whether it is not so important. For example, a theft or some robbery, or some fight between two groups. Okay. And if there is some injury or some death or murder, something like this that happens, then that becomes little, it carries more weightage to be placed in the news, as a news report. So now, after political news, it is the crime news, which is, that occupies the more space in the newspaper. And lots of reader have seen that they are very much interested in crime reporting. Okay, they want to know. They buy newspaper to, quench their thirst for this thing only. So crime reporting comes the second in, because it brings you closer to those people who are criminal. In a sense, that does not gives you strength, but then you come across sometime um, some more mafia dons and all. So you know how with their way of working, you become more important to them also. And but never give in to their pressures and demand, because then your purpose of giving a neutral report will be lost. Don't you know don't compromise on that. That's my suggestion, but rest is on up to you. Now let next go to the next type of reporting, which is called civic reporting. As the name suggests, what is the civic means, um, you know uh, all the activities, like roads का बनना बने हुए नहीं है, there is a problem here. Okay. Councillors का problem, municipality का problem, then there are potholes in the city, in the roads, their gardens are not well maintained, they all come under the civic reporting. Okay. The city newspaper always keeps this area reserved for reporting, because you should know what is happening in and around your city. Okay. If the laborers are being uplifted from one place where they had been living since lot of time, then these types of things are also reported. What is coming up in that area, what projects are going to happen, what buildings are going to come up. So all these come under the civic reporting. And बताया ना, condition of the roads बताना है. So these problems are faced by citizens every day. Okay. And sometimes civic reporting mein there has to be association between the citizen who are facing problem and the reporters. And the reporters, they ask the people over there what are their problems. So this generally happens during the election time more, because then people come forward कि इस पार्टी के इसने कुछ किया नहीं, हमारे civic amenities को सुधारा नहीं. These are the things that are still lying pending. And during the times of the vote, they come in front of us asking for vote, but they don't do all of these things. So these type of reporting, they generally have more coverage during the election times, and most of the time they are ignored. And right, that's it. Next is cultural reporting. And cultural reporting is something like whatever is happening in and around your area. Culture is very important. Why? Keeping ties with your roots is very important. And despite all those nuisance that is happening in the political world, civic amenities not being properly provided for, crime reporting and all, people get their satisfaction only by reading cultural reporting, because this is something which is very positive. This is that it's the lifeline of the people of in any area. If there is any samagam that is happening, if there is any theater program that is happening, uh, people, they would like to if there is any camps that are happening, so they all come under the cultural reporting. Dance, music, concert, plays, exhibition. We have had enough of political crisis and all these crime reporting. So we draw our strength from our culture, and that is why this page is given importance. So organizers को भी इसमें help हो जाता है when they put up their news in the they come in contact with the reporter, they report their programs, and then people, they get to know about them and they pour in more numbers, they want to visit that place. For example, if there is an exhibition that has been kept on Durga Puja, pandal has been opened and there is an exhibition, so they do it so that people in large number can come and enjoy there. Okay, and because the number of such event is also very large, it is not possible for the reporter to cover all of these. So but he has to cover the major ones, and if it is a local newspaper, so he has to tell, it is his duty to make sure that each and every big events are being covered, so that readers, they are aware, and if they want, they can participate, go there, part and see that program. Okay, now let's go ahead. Education reporting is also very important. Why? Nowadays everything is available in the news paper and online platform also, because children are going to school, they want to know what are the different options available to them, what are the options for higher education, and so when they have lot of options, they can make their choices. It becomes easy for them to basically understand कि if this is not, then we can go to this place. So teenager, young people, they want to seek admission in big institute. So all these requirements, when are they having admissions, all these things are also covered in the newspaper. with junior college हो गया, senior college हो गया, universities हो गया, institutes which offer different types of courses, they also publish these things in the newspaper, because it is a win-win situation for both, because you as a student is also hunting for such information, and the universities and the colleges, they are also hunting for the students, so they both of you benefit in this manner. So these days stress is on the all-round development of the student's personality. Education institution, they come up with their activities also, they sometimes give you we do this also in our colleges in this. So by looking at that type of news, educational reporting, you decide, okay, these are the colleges who are having extracurricular activity, cultural activities, so it will be a good fun to be part of this institute, because they are offering good education along with extra thing. Okay, so this is how they want to keep you informed about whatever is happening. And also education reporting may not educational ministers, they, in case they are doing some changes in the education policy, that is also be reported in this educational reporting. Okay, journalists basically who have got inclination towards academics and they have this mindset, they may opt for this educational reporting. Okay, now next is health reporting. In today's world, pandemic mein to this health reporting has become a very important one, because from the past 2 years we have been facing so many difficulties as far as health is concerned. Okay, now apart from that, otherwise also public health has been very important, and whatever we eat, whatever we drink contains chemical that may harm our body, and this is like educational reporting sometimes. So they give you good they may take the interview of a doctor, and then they may suggest you what you should do. So these are the things that will come under the health reporting. Okay, and sometimes they may give you the details of the amount of chemicals which are present in the food. Okay, and how the preservatives, they spoil the quality of food. Okay, then there may be like junk food, how it affects the children and how they make them obese. So these are the type of reporting which come under the health reporting. Okay, so uh, basically it is to enlighten the reader. Okay, and also if there is some disease that is on high rise, that they have to report it. Like for example, dengue is on a, is reported. So you, when you read such report, you become careful. You know that what you have to do, as because you have been going through these phases since so many years. So you will look around your areas and you will see whether there is not some collected water, because mosquitoes, they breed here. And then you, when you read that type of news, malaria is on high and dengue is on high, so you basically try to prevent yourself. You will start eating better food, and you will start spraying mosquito sprays, so that you are not hit. Or you may use your what do you say, some ointments because you know that this thing is already there, you have to take care. Okay, so a health reporter needs to have a very good knowledge about health issues, and he should be conscientious about to understand that he cannot replace a medical doctor, but on at the same time he can give at least advice to them, and they can be careful. Okay, he's not going to um, replace any doctor. Sometimes some health reporting may have an interview of a doctor, but even then they, in the end, they have to mention that it is in case you have got more symptoms, then it's better to see a doctor rather than relying on this report. Okay, now the health reporting may sometimes environmental degradation is also added, because they add chemicals to the environment and how they affect the health, that is also covered in the health reporting. Okay, now last but not the least, sports reporting. Now some people are very very sports enthusiastic. They want to know what is happening in and around their area. They want to know everything, who won which competition. They want to keep a tab on tennis, they want to keep a tab on cricket, every place. So sports events have a universal appeal, actually worldwide. Some people, they have no interest in sports news, they just skip that column, but then their importance can be gauged from the fact that newspaper have a separate section to carry a sports news. Last page is always for the sports news, right? So this news could be either local, state, regional, or national or international level, whatever it is. Okay, now iske baad least important is given to the entertainment reporting, but log ulta chalte hain. They give more importance to the entertainment reporting, like for example filmy and all those TV के जो stars होते हैं उनसे related whatever is there. Sorry for the spelling mistake, entertainment लिख दिया मैंने. Anyways, I'll correct it later on. So films and TV serials are very popular nowadays, but here most of the time it is the very low level news, like उनका किसके साथ affair चल रहा है. It's basically a gossip column, so which actually should not affect our life, but then we still go and read these types of reporting because I don't know, some part of us, they touch our life so much that we really want to know about them, what is happening in their personal life. Okay, and we want to know more about our favorite TV personality or a film personality. So that is why entertainment reporting is also something which you cannot ignore, because people are reading these types of news, though they know on many fronts that these news are not going to really affect their personal life. So that's it. Then there is one more, business reporting. Some people are only interested in knowing the business. They skip all type of news, but they want to know how the economy is going, because some people have invested so much money in the share market. They want to know if they have invested, which are the budding companies where they should invest. So newspaper is there is a full separate section. given to the business reporting or a trade news, which is called often. So here this kind of reporting will cover industries involved, their production, their services. So by reading these types of news, you can understand uh, which are the flourishing industries, what will be good industries to invest in. And money, very important nowadays. And now youngsters, they know uh, uh, that share market is very is a volatile market, so it's important to keep a tab on the business news all the time. And youngsters nowadays, they are investing in share market more than before. Earlier, people used to be get into a certain age and then start thinking of investing in the share market. But now I have seen from the past 2 3 years, the trend has come, like even the college students, they know the share market, so they have to keep a tab on the business reporting. Okay, understanding financial matter is not easy. Okay, so journalists who have got good economic background, they should take up this business reporting. Okay, and I think with this I have finished my first chapter. Okay, uh, from Monday onwards I will starting with the new chapter.